Hello everyone, it's Harun again. Welcome to the Automator for this week. This week we have a guest, Mr. David Wu, a truly wonderful fellow. Whooperman, sorry, Whooperman. Yeah. Everybody knows what he's done now. In the past few weeks, you know, he's walked 500 kilometers from Kuala Lumpur to Kota Bharu to raise donation for the flood victims in Kelantan. Now, David, I would like to just start by asking you, what motivates you to do what you did?
I think it was more of a desire to get away from Kuala Lumpur, you know, and luckily the haze was there. It was about to creep into KL, and since I had a project in that I initiated in May in the villages, I spontaneously decided to just walk back to the project.
I would like you to tell us your experience while walking.
I think having the luxury of being on your own for a prolonged period of time is something to cherish, yeah, and also to enjoy the nature. You know, Malaysia has a beautiful countryside. It's stunning, you know, and as I was crossing the Banjaran Titiwangsa, difficult climbs, uphill and downhill, but the views are amazing, and to being close to the people on the ground. Malaysians generally are very helpful people. They're very kind, they're generous and nice, you know, all around. And that's something I think we miss being in the urban areas, you know, especially in KL or the big towns.
You mentioned the people, and this is regardless of the race?
Regardless, you know, and especially in Kelantan. Well, there are not too many Indians in Kelantan, but the Chinese and the local and the Malay, they get along perfectly. Everyone's fluent in Bahasa Kelate, you know, and people get along just fine.
And they always welcome you, and
always with a smile, always with an acknowledgement, a nod.
And nobody call you Cina Babi?
Not yet.
Nobody. Your experience during the walk, your experience with the people on the ground, the rural folk, do you think racism is creeping into their mind, into the way they behave towards you?
No. I don't. But I guess it works both ways. A big part of the walk was about extending friendship. And extending friendship also takes action, which means if I'm going to walk past someone, I need to also acknowledge that they exist, you know, by a nod or with a smile. And they reciprocate. They acknowledge that and they return it. People are just generally warm. They don't view you suspiciously, even though I certainly do not look like someone who comes from the rural areas. So the perception that, you know, Malaysians are fragmented doesn't seem to quite apply when you go to the kampongs.
That's quite amazing. It's heartwarming to know that. It is refreshing.
It is.
Now, where do you see us as a people in the future?
I hope we start believing and try to reinstate our faith in what being a Malaysian is all about. It is about being able to live together, you know, coexist together, and not to take things far too seriously, you know.
You think it's just politics?
It's very possible, you know. From what I read, this is my personal perspective, and things that I read on social media and things that I read in mainstream press, for example, does not reflect what I saw as I traveled, yeah, and I'm talking about being very close to the ground.
So 1 for Malaysia and 0 for politicians?
Well, I think politicians have a responsibility to spread the more positive side of Malaysia. It is a responsibility that they should take quite seriously, you know.
And have they discharged this responsibility, you think?
Well, it depends on what you read and who you read, to be honest. I tend to dismiss it. I tend to ignore a lot of it. In fact, a large part of the walk was to ignore it, and when I went for the walk, I did not read pretty much of anything on Facebook about politics. Right. When you do that over a prolonged period of time, you have a very different perspective of things.
That's your cleansing exercise.
It is.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Well, you know, I think David Wu has done a really big thing. You know, it's humongous. You know, I've told David that, you know, the only way to upstage him is to walk backward from KL to Kelantan, which I will not do in my life. Congratulations, David.
Thank you very much.
I think Malaysia owes you a debt, and thank you for being here, David.
Thank you, Art. Cheers.
That's all for this week, folks. Thank you very much for watching.